What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Nerd Locker, a place for inner nerd. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Jasmine.
And this is episode 38. This week we got Dark Knight news, Green Lantern, and some Comic-Con. So, let's get to it.
Okay, so when we first found out that Anne Hathaway was going to be in The Dark Knight Rises, I was really stoked for it because I feel like she's a really good, committed actress.
Yeah.
And like the news that's coming in, I think it's finally starting to pay off. We're saying because I can't even say it with a straight face. She gave one of the stuntmen a black eye.
I heard about this.
She gun butted him.
I know.
That's amazing.
That's incredible. Apparently she's putting her all into this role, but during a fight sequence, yeah, she basically leveled the stuntman, gave him a black eye, and just hit him in the face with a gun. You know what the weird thing is to apologize, she got him a pen.
The engraving is amazing on this pen.
What's this? It says, no one can throw a punch like Anne or something.
Yeah.
Regardless, why'd you get him a pen? He's a stuntman. You don't think he does a lot of...
I don't know. I think with older people, pens are like a very distinguished tradition.
I guess. I mean, either way, it was nice of her.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice pen, too.
The other thing is, I guess she was doing another scene, and she actually tore open the ass end or bottom end of her costume.
Like all the way around.
Yeah. So, and there's no pictures on that, really? We got nothing?
If we can get a Tom Hardy Bane picture, I'm pretty sure
that's what I'm saying.
Help these pervs
Well,
out.
come on now. But I like that she, Nolan's saying that she's really putting her all into it,
yeah.
And he said emotionally and physically. So it's good to know that she's committed to this role. Another thing going on is that there's rumors are that the movie is going to start out with the explosions at Arkham Asylum with Bane breaking everyone out in the League of Shadows. And apparently they're going to go with the Nightfall where he actually breaks Batman's back. Like right off
the bat.
Yeah. Right off the bat. I just love how just straightforward like the story is going to be. Just
that would be pretty awesome to see too, because you're going to have
love
a
to
laid
see
up
him
Christian
just pick
Bale
up and
pile drive.
Oh man, that'd be cool.
But then like also because we've been wondering how Christopher Nolan's gonna incorporate all these other really good actors.
Yeah.
With these small roles, so clearly that's how he's gonna do it. If Christian Bale is gonna be laid up for a portion of the movie, then it'll be sort of him and Alfred, and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bane running around doing things.
That makes more sense.
That makes more sense to have a Catwoman.
With Catwoman and Joseph Gordon-Levitt if Batman's
be so
out.
Good.
It's just you can't do wrong.
Oh.
It's
taking like a beautiful shape.
It's almost like he has to try to suck.
I know, right?
And he can't. He can't do it. All right, in Marvel movie news, Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau were talking about Iron Man 3 this week. For those of you that don't know, Jon Favreau is just going to be a consultant for 3. Shane Black is still writing and directing it. But they're kind of talking about what the movie universe is going to be like once the Avengers comes out.
Well, that makes sense. And we've actually heard a lot about this through other people, like when we did the podcast with Josh Bell and stuff. Like, if you didn't watch that, go check it out. How are you going to have all these linking movies when they all have to separate at some point, you know?
Yeah.
But for people who read comics, it's easy because you can just have a separate universe or have their own storyline that they do individually and their team story. But I don't think it'll be that hard to make another Iron Man movie, especially with the character that is Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah.
That's easy. And it's easy to do with Thor and Cap because they all have different agendas.
True. But the whole thing is like in comic books, you can be reading and Thor can show up for 2 pages. Or someone can show up. You know, what's going to happen now that you introduce the Avengers and say Iron Man's going up against someone that he's just getting his ass handed to him by? You know, why can't you just call Thor and be like, hey, dude, I need help. And if Thor come up, kick the crap out of the guy, and end the movie in 20 minutes.
Well, true, but what if Thor is in Asgard, or what if Tony Stark is being his characteristic Tony Stark?
Well, that's what they were talking about,
though. People hate him for doing stuff, you
know?
Like, how long was Tony Stark an alcoholic for in comic books?
Yeah.
You know, it would be really easy to go back, like, have him just go back to being an a-hole for something, you know? Or for them to just be, like, doing other things. It would not be hard.
Yeah. Well, that's what they were talking about, though, is kind of they're setting something up so that you can still have an Iron Man movie and not sit there and wonder going, is Cap going to show up? Like, why aren't the Avengers here?
And just because they're not, they can all have little, they'll obviously have little cameos, you know?
I don't know. I feel like after Avengers, you might just stick to the character. I'm sure there will be references, but I really think an Iron Man movie is going to have Iron Man and War Machine.
Well, that'd be great, though. I think that, like, say Tony Stark, like, opens the paper and it's like, Steve Rogers is off in blah, 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 doing blah, blah, blah. Like,
oh, no, that would be...
Boom, problem solved. And for the most part, any of the other characters that are Avengers really don't have the sort of MOs where they can just pop in and out.
On another note, Robert Downey Jr. did say that he is completely impressed by what Joss Whedon is doing with the Avengers movie. So
I'm not surprised about that. He's really great for teams.
Yeah.
So.
Well, definitely have some hope there with that movie.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so this is something we've heard in the past, but Warner Brothers is kind of looking to fill the void once Harry Potter's done with these DC movies. But they haven't quite figured out the formula yet in the form of price range, saying that Green Lantern costs $300 million to make, which is insane.
That's awful.
Like, that's incredible. That much on a movie. I don't even know what to say. But
well, I mean, other movies merit that much money.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't think Green Lantern will.
No.
You know what I mean? It's sort of.
But they're really looking
thing.
for more DC hero movies to kind of fill the void of this Harry Potter thing, and they could really take, note from Marvel because they actually have this figured out.
I would say fairly
the
well.
formula for these movies with the money and stuff. They got rid of Terrence Howard at the end of Iron Man 1 because he wanted too much money. He was the highest paid actor in Iron Man 1. So you get rid of him, and you hire Don Cheadle, who will do it cheaper.
He's a better actor.
Well, that too, but he's willing to work for less. Whereas I think DC is kind of just pumping out because they want these movies to be good, so they're paying top dollar. But I don't want them to flop on these because I'd really like to see more DC movies.
You and I both. I think the thing here is that they need to hire up-and-coming actors who are just as good, who are just a little less well-known. Like Marvel is smart in that they hire good actors who do it for the art and not for the money.
Very much so.
Where there's a lot less ego involved in it,
Exactly, and a lot of them were up and coming. I mean, in a sense, Robert Downey Jr. was around for a while, but yeah, that was how he got back into it, and he genuinely loves the character of Tony Stark. Chris Hemsworth, I mean, he was in Star Trek, but I didn't really know anything of him before then.
No one knew who Chris Hemsworth was unless you were from Australia and Australian soap operas and stuff.
So it's not exactly going for the top grade. I mean, you can get good actors that aren't well known, and I think that's the key to it. So I kind of hope they take a little hint from Marvel and kind of processes into everything because I'd love to see some movies that don't cost nearly as much so we can get them out quicker and more of them.
I definitely think if they just chose their movies a little wiser and how they wanted to make them, because Green Lantern should not be in all CG.
No.
They would have probably saved money. Like movies like Making the Flash would be a lot cheaper.
Oh, absolutely.
Stuff like that. So I think they just have to pick and choose what they want to do.
I'll agree with you on that one.
So this is pretty huge among the fanboys because it is Comic-Con season and everything's coming up. A lot of the big movie studios that usually preview trailers and screenings and have some of the actors at the con are not going to be there. Like Disney and Sony and the Weinstein Company and DreamWorks.
Yeah, Marvel Studios actually won't be here this year either, which kind of makes me happy because it's still called Comic-Con. At the end of the day, it is a comic book convention.
True.
And yeah, you love the movies. I went one year, it was the year before The Watchmen came out, and they had a bunch of props and stuff like that, and that's cool to see, but in the same sense, you're flooding this convention with people who aren't there for comic books. They're there for movies and everything else, and that's just not what it is. So I'm kind of relieved to see that these people are backing out of this a little bit, because I'd like for Comic-Con to get back to Comic-Con.
I think what it really boils down to is the fact that some of these movies belong there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they've oversaturated this market with things that are not true to what we were originally going there for.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that bugs me, Twilight shouldn't be there, and Stupid People's Romantic Comedy shouldn't be there, but Captain America should be there.
Yeah.
Green Lantern should be there.
Well, it's a comic book convention.
Exactly.
You want to see those movies.
I want to see comic movies. I don't want to see any vampires and aliens and whatever, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what bums me out, but at the same time, I think this is a good step in the right direction because maybe eventually, say when Comic-Con might leave San Diego or any of those things, we will get back to how it used to be.
Yeah.
And it was actual artists.
Well, you know what's so wrong with a convention with the studios, with the movies and the TV shows and all this new stuff? Going to Comic-Con, that's what you go there for. I bought action figures and old comic books, runs I was trying to complete and statues and stuff like that, and it was all comic related. And the movie stuff's cool, but when I went, they were previewing stuff for Pineapple Express. Don't get me wrong, love that movie, but it's got nothing to do with comic books.
Exactly.
It was nothing I wanted to. It was nothing I was interested at the time.
They can both fit in equally together, but at the same time, I am just so sick of seeing all of these things that have nothing to do with comic books there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know, it's sad when even movie studios trying to back out, because first it was artists and writers and stuff like that who are like, we're not going anymore because...
It's not about the fans.
Exactly.
So to me, if anything, this is kind of a sigh of relief.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. So I don't know, hopefully it keeps going that way.
But yeah, let us know what you think.
So English actor Sean Bean, he's in Game of Thrones, he was in Lord of the Rings, National Treasure.
Love that movie.
Actually got in a bar fight this week in England,
fantastic.
a pub fight in England this week for defending a model he was with. I guess no one was really a witness to the fight, but he ended up with a black eye, big old scraped arm, because someone was heckling him and this model he was with. So he actually went outside, altercation happened, walked back into the bar where he's a regular at. They fixed him back up, and then he asked for a beer.
That's fantastic.
What a badass.
That is how you do it. That is
what
like...
a badass.
That girl is obligated to just be on his arm at all times.
He got laid, period. But what I want to, like, he probably didn't. I mean, he walks in, I guess they broke a beer bottle, cut up his arm. But the other guy didn't come back in, so I take it, he got the crap kicked out of him. So, way to go, buddy. You're a badass.
Right? Chivalry is not dead. All right, that's going to do it for episode 38. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and check us out at nerdlocker.com for all your nerdy news. I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Brandon, and you guys have a nerdy week.